All right, ladies and gentlemen, greetings and salutations, fellow Morris County, and welcome to tonight's meeting. I officially call this meeting to order, and I want to welcome up a junior from Morristown, Garrett Greger, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Immediately following the Pledge of Allegiance, please remain standing as we honor America with the singing of our national anthem performed by Emma Canavan, a senior at Morristown.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, guys. Once again, a big round of applause for Emma and Garrett. Thank you. Emma, fantastic. I want to let everyone know that you were listening. The first performers was the Morristown String Quartet. And also following them was the Morristown Jazz Combo under the direction of Nathan Marlowe. So thank you. Again, a very big thank you. All right, we have a great program for you tonight, and here is our meeting by the numbers. There are 115 participants registered, 61 in person, 22 attending virtually, and 33 new board members. We have 33 of our 39 school districts represented this evening, and that is a great, great thing. A big shout out and congratulations to Roxbury, who has 10 participants here tonight. Woohoo! And coming in a very close second, a wonderful district called Netcong. I don't know if you've all heard of it. Okay. And then we had 8, and Mine Hill, Parsippany, and Wharton all have 7. So way to go, guys. Thank you. We also have 7 superintendents, 1 assistant superintendent, and 3 BAs attending this evening. Great job. We have the following counties represented: Bergen, Burlington, Essex, Hunterdon, Mercer, Middlesex, Monmouth, Passaic, and Warren. Welcome. Couple housekeeping chores I want to go over. Please mark your calendars for February 5th, which will be our next county meeting. It will be virtual only. The topic will be the part 2 of tonight's presentation, creating an effective board culture. Also a reminder that April 2nd, we will be at Morris Knolls for our 2025 Morris County Unsung Heroes Award. For those of you who keep track, we used to have that at CCM. We've moved it to Morris Knolls, which is a bigger, better venue, I'm told. And of course, our final meeting of the year is May 7th, and we will be at Mount Olive High School for the 3rd annual Nancy Holberg Memorial Recognition Ceremony. Last year, we were at Roxbury, and Mount Olive promises that they will do a better job. Not sure how. Not sure how. Okay. These dates are also on your agendas tonight in case you missed them. Before we get to tonight's main event, creating an effective board culture through governance, collaboration, and mentorship, I want to acknowledge and give a very big thank you to our own Rob Achera. Oh, it's gonna have to be louder. It's gonna have to be louder for him. Honestly, without Rob's initiative and willing to go the extra mile, we would not have the success and the programs that we do. So Rob, simply put, we wouldn't know what to do without you. So thank you again. All right, I'm gonna solve this. There we go. I also want to thank the SBA staff for organizing and providing an incredible workshop experience for all attendees this year. Once a year, board members have the opportunity to come together with superintendents, BAs, vendors, and fellow board members to learn from each other, network, provide valuable training, opportunities, and build lasting relationships. Workshop is 3 days filled with training opportunities, swapping ideas with other board members and individual groups. And then we leave exhausted but invigorated and with a renewed commitment to providing and improving educational opportunities for all the county students. For those of you who did not have the opportunity to attend this year, and for all our new board members in the house tonight, I highly encourage you to start planning now for next year's workshop. I promise you it will be everything and more. Just a reminder that the 2025 Irene Lefebvre Excellence in Boardsmanship Award nominations are due no later than April 1st. As a reminder, this award was established to honor a local school board member who exemplifies Irene's dedicated service as a board member, her leadership, her dedication, her commitment, and significant contributions to the education of students at the local, county, and state levels. I would like to encourage each board to recognize and honor a deserving board member with a nomination. The nomination and recognition will show that board member just how much they are valued and appreciated. A big shout out and welcome to all our new incoming Morris County School Board members who attended the 3 R's training this evening. Congratulations on being elected to serve on your local Board of Education. Please remember that your voters have placed their trust and confidence in the fidelity of your abilities and are looking for you to help move your board forward and upward to advocate for all children and the advancement of student achievement. That means you must remember who the stakeholders are and who your customers are, because they will be looking to you for solutions, and it's your job now to build a relationship with those stakeholders. It is up to you to get your board from good to great, and there's only one way to do that. There's only one way to do that. And that is to immerse yourself in all the training opportunities that New Jersey School Boards provides. It's time for you to lead and set the example. And remember, true leadership is not achieved by simply getting the title of board member. It must be earned through your character and your actions. You are taking the first and right step tonight by attending tonight's training, so that you may have the tools that are currently available to you to help equip you with the skills and information necessary to perform your role efficient and effectively. Best of luck to all of you, and we are here to help. Remember that. If all our new board members would stand, I'd like everyone to recognize them, give them a nice round of applause. Come on, I know there's 33 of you out there. All right, that was great. Thank you all. All right, we're going to move on with greetings from our New Jersey State School Board officers team. We have Mr. Barry Fitzgerald, NJSBA Vice President of County Affairs Virtual, who will address us. Barry, take it away.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. So good evening. As she said, my name is Barry Fitzgerald. I'm from the Lenape Regional High School Board of Education in Burlington County, and I am the Vice President of County Activities. So I want to thank you all for being here tonight. Your participation demonstrates the value you place on your professional development as a board member. It's always a pleasure to meet with my fellow board members in Morris County and provide updates on recent developments at the New Jersey School Boards Association. As of November 20th, 2024, according to the New Jersey School Boards Association records, many of our Board of Education members have not yet completed the mandated training requirements for the 2024 cycle as outlined by the School Ethics Act. New Jersey statute mandates that new school board members and charter school trustees complete training within 90 days of taking office. Board members in the second and third years of their first term and those in the first year of a re-elected or reappointed term must also complete this mandated training. Any board members who have not completed the required training by January 1 of 2025 will be out of compliance. Please be aware that the members of your board who have not yet fulfilled their training requirement have already been notified. Furthermore, a former board member who has had a break in service of 3 years or more must complete Governance 1 again, and the same 90-day training regulation applies. As you are aware, NJSBA is the state designated provider for mandated training. This training is offered at no cost to members and is available in multiple formats, including live virtual training, self-paced online courses, and in-person sessions. For more information, please visit the NJSBA website and click on the mandated training link, which can be found under the Events and Training tab on the homepage. Please note that your business administrator must be the one to register members for these training sessions. Finally, thank you once again for your service to your local school districts and for your support of the NJSBA. Your commitment and continued dedication to the association is what makes us strong. Your ongoing participation is essential for our collective efforts to support and advance public education and promote the achievement of all students through effective governance. Thank you. I'm looking forward to tonight's program, and I hope everyone else enjoys the evening's program tonight.
Thank you, Barry. Good. Yeah. At
Thank
this
you.
time, thank you, Barry. At this time, it gives me great pleasure to call up Mr. Rob Achera, County Activities Coordinator, to present New Jersey School Board's annual School Leader Award exemplary program from Roxbury High School. This is my neighboring district. We love them. They have their whole board here, plus their superintendent. Let's do it.
Thank you, Bernadette. Basically gave the award out already. It is my pleasure to present the 2024 NJSBA School Leader Award. This year, the judges of the School Leader Award program selected 2 districts for exemplary program recognition and 2 recognized programs out of 16 entries. One of this year's exemplary programs is the Morris County Roxbury School District's Aviation Program. The overarching objective of the Roxbury Aviation Program is to inspire and empower the next generation of aviators, engineers, technicians, and leaders who will contribute to the advancement of the aviation industry and make a positive impact on our global community. From aerodynamics and aircraft systems to flight planning and navigation, the program's coursework covers a wide range of topics essential for success in the aviation industry. One of the hallmarks of the program is the success in helping students obtain their private pilot licenses. In addition to pilot training, our program also offers students the opportunity to obtain their drone Part 107 license. This certification opens doors to exciting career opportunities in fields such as aerial photography and surveying, and equips students with valuable skills in drone operation and safety. The program is made available to students from all backgrounds. Yearly events are organized to serve as opportunities for students from diverse backgrounds to learn about aviation and spark their interest in our program from an early age. Aligned with New Jersey student learning standards, the curriculum integrates STEM, language arts, and social studies This program's industry partnerships play a crucial role in preparing students for success in the competitive aviation industry and ensuring that they are well equipped to thrive. And even though they gave me all this to read, before we present the award, we're going to call up Matthew Maughan, who's now the Roxbury High School Assistant Principal, and he was previously the supervisor, and Dr. Michael Gottfried, the aviation program teacher, to talk a little bit about the program, and then we'll bring up all of Roxbury to give them the award.
Thank you very much, Rob. Good evening, everybody. My name, once again, Matthew Maughan. I'm the proud assistant principal of Roxbury High School. Previously, I was a supervisor for 2 years there of science, and I worked alongside Dr. Gottfried those years. We're going on our 5th year here for our aviation program at Roxbury High School.
All right, and I'm Mike Gottfried. I'm one of the instructors here at the high school. And our program has had a lot of success over the last 5 years, which has been really awesome to see. And I think a big piece of that is the support that we get from our Roxbury administrators and our Board of Ed. And I find anytime we bring an idea to them, the answer is always yes, or let's see how we can make this work. And then that's our starting point that allows us to kind of launch into providing these amazing opportunities for our students, for getting them the groundwork to get their private pilot's license. We have a bunch of drones where students get outside and get these hands-on experiences. And it really makes a difference for them and kind of sets up a path for success for them. We had a couple students, 4 students specifically, that got their pilot's license already. And we have another 4 that got their drone pilot's license. And I think one kind of really interesting story is a student by the name of Connor Stark. And Connor went through our program, completed all of his years. Halfway through, he was kind of slacking off, starting to kind of fall behind in his work. Grades were dropping. And I said to him, I was like, what are you looking for? Like, do you want something in aviation, or are you just looking to finish this course and be done? And he's like, yeah, like, I don't think this is for me. I'll finish the year and then that's it. And then he came back a couple weeks later and he's like, oh, like, your conversation struck me. And I realized, like, I do have a career in aviation. And he's like, I decided, like, this is what I want. And so he recommitted himself and went from his 75, brought his grades up to 90s, finished out the program. And then his senior year, he got an internship with Warren County Community College. And as a high school student, he got to become a TA. And I'm still not quite sure how that worked, but he was TA in college class and it worked well. They loved him. He had plans to go to Embry-Riddle. He got accepted. He was going to go. And then tuition was like $100,000 for the first couple of years for him to pay for flight training and college. And then Warren County came back and said, we're offering you a job. We want you to come work for us and you can take classes with us. And he said, absolutely, I'm in. And so he turned on a dime and now he's working for Warren County, and the rest is history. But that's just one example of what our program is doing for students. And we have a whole host of students doing some really cool things like Connor, but like, that is what our program has set our students up for.
And what Dr. Gottfried forgot to mention was none of that would be possible without the educator I have right here to my right, Dr. Gottfried. He's worked over the last 5 years to build this program up with Dr. Sight from a dream to a going on 5 years, a 4-year program for our students. We offer 4 different courses in aviation. We've had 138 students come through our program, and we're accepting a new cohort next year. Some exciting news. We've partnered with Morris County Votech School, and we have an aviation academy for students in the Morris County to attend Roxbury for 4 years and enroll in aviation. So once again, couldn't be possible to the board members, our Roxbury community, and most importantly, Dr. Gottfried. So thank you all.
All right, Leo, bring your team up to accept this plaque. Come on up. And I just want to say, not only are you getting this cool plaque for a great program here in Morris County, and again, Morris County second to none. You have the best tie. You win for greatest tie
Thank you.
tonight, so thank you.
Congrats, you guys.
Oh,
Awesome.
thank you so much. Thank you.
You're awesome.
Appreciate
Okay, you guys are gonna hold it, all right?
Sure.
Stand in the middle here. Put your hands on the plaque.
Plaque?
Yep.
Oh, he wants
Put your
to
hand on the
stand.
plaque. Is everyone in here?
Jeff.
that you need?
That's good. Everything up there.
You got us all, Rob?
I got you, man.
Roxbury. Just put your down.
Yeah.
One, two.
Beautiful.
Great.
All right.
Gentlemen, it's your flag. You guys get to- it's yours. There you go.
Great program. Congratulations.
Here's. Hey, if you want.
I love it. I love it.
I love it.
All right, once again, please give this program and these gentlemen another round of applause. Outstanding job, guys. All right, it's that time for the main event. Here in Morris County, we are one of the only counties where our board members pick the topics and then develop the program. And oh, what is that? Okay. I'm very happy and proud to bring up Lisa Messick from Rockaway Township and Karen Nyquist from Long Hill Township. They took on the challenge and the responsibility to put tonight's program together, and I'm going to turn the microphone over to them so they can proceed with the program. Lisa, Karen, come on up, and thank you. Where's Karen? Oh, they had a change in plan and didn't tell me, so here's Lisa.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to our program, Creating an Effective Board Culture, Governance, Collaboration, and Mentorship. Together with Karen Ann Nyquist and George Alexis from Long Hill Township and Ann Mucci from Morris School District. Dr. Rich Corbett and I are here from Rockaway Township, and we're leading off with beginning on effective board culture. So the Rockaway Township School District, I'll let
You
Dr.
mind?
No, you do it. Go ahead.
Oh, you want me to do it?
Yeah, you can do that.
I guess we'll have to switch the mic back
All
and
right,
forth.
yeah.
I don't know how we're gonna do this. We'll try though. I'll speak loud. Maybe you'll hear me, maybe you won't. If you don't, that's okay. No, I want you to hear me. I want to speak articulately. So something about Rockaway Township Board of Education. First of all, we're a type 2 board district. And some new board members might not know the distinction between a type 1 and a type 2. A type 1 is a mayor appointed board, type 2 is an elected board. And type 2 is much more common than type 1. I've worked in both kinds of districts and boards. We're a 7-member board. We have board committees as opposed to a board of the whole. And the committees and the chairs are selected by the board president. We have 6 schools and 2,400 students. Next slide, please. Now, by the way, I said to Lisa, when she asked me about this presentation about 3 weeks ago, she said, would you want to do this? I said, you want my real answer? No, of course I'd like to do it. How much time do I have? And she said, as much time as you want, take 2 hours. No, she didn't say that. She said 10 minutes. I said, 10 minutes? I don't know what I can get through in 10 minutes. She said, we'll do it together. So we're going to try to get through these 17 slides in 10 minutes, okay? Really fast, but not too fast, because I'd like you to get something out of it. Now, by the way, a little disclaimer here. These slides are not based on research. They're me-search. They're research, okay? This is based on our experience that we want to share with you. And this is certainly not the first or the last word in board culture. It's something that we met together a few times. We put our heads together. We came up with this. This is our experience. And you probably have many, many more and even deeper experiences. So when we talk about culture, here the first, the way of life, arts, beliefs, institutions, and populations that are passed down from generation to generation. Okay, that's the dictionary definition of culture. Well, really what it comes down to, it's what we do, how we do it. That's our culture. But I think it's so important to board success. It's so important that boards have the opportunity, in my opinion, to reflect on their culture. What is it like being a member of that Board of Education? It's essential for success. Next slide, please. I don't want to dominate this mic.
No, that's all right.
All right, this was a little diagram. This is kind of like, it kind of capsulizes everything. The culture, you have the influence of the superintendent, the influence of the board, and you want to kind of level that out there. Next slide, please. So here are the influences we think regarding board culture. And these are just some. Maybe there's more. Communication, equality, honesty, leadership, collaboration, respect, and support. So what we'd like to do is briefly focus on each one of these from a superintendent perspective and from a board member perspective. So that's what we'll do. If we go to the next slide, we'll start with communication. This is my practice. This is how I do it. This is how I see it. I'm just one superintendent. The first thing I like to do is make sure the board's always informed with weekly updates. Just about every Friday, I send the board an update. I try to provide them with a very comprehensive update about everything that's relevant in the district. Here's the point. I don't want the board member to find out something in ShopRite before they find out from me. They got to find out from me first. So now something comes up and it's important. For example, whatever, there's an emergency at a school. I'm not going to wait till Friday if it happened on Monday. So I'll send out a text message to the board members to let them know then and there. There's an ambulance by the school. They should know what's going on. All right. So the text messages as needed. And usually that's preceded by a call to the board president, just to touch base with her first. Conversations with the committee chair people are always very important. A preview of the board report before the board meeting. So I try to get my report that I'm going to give in public to the board at a board meeting, before the meeting. So they don't hear it from the first time at the day is taken. Frank, respectful conversations in executive session.
Now, obviously, this is just my perspective, but as a board member, I think it's crucial that you read your agenda before your meeting. In addition to that, if it's possible, ask those questions before the meeting. There might be something that you see on the agenda. Just take a quick call, ask the superintendent, hey, what's this about? Especially if it's something that might require a little bit of extra research, they might need to get specific numbers. The last thing you want to do is surprise your administration or your fellow board members at that table. The whole point is, it's not something that will let the public see that you're a cohesive unit. Now, we're talking about equality, no favorites among board members. Well, as a board member, how we govern as individuals reflects on the board as a whole. The public has an expectation of the entire board working well together to find common ground while they're making those decisions. And board members must model the behavior they wish the children of the district to emulate. The last thing the public wants to see is squabbling at the board table. Vigorous debate is one thing, rancorous is another.
And each board member has one vote. You got to remember that. It doesn't matter who you favor on the board as a superintendent, everyone has one vote. The board president, I like to first among equal. The board member has a vote, but I go to the board president, for example, as a first call. If something comes up in the district, just to touch base with the board president. That's my practice, right? And to make sure she has the facts too. First call, she does the committee selections, our board president, and she presides at all board meetings. I always say principles before personalities. That's what's important, principles before personalities. Honesty, transparency, the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's what I say all the time. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Why? Because mistakes happen. Board members, I think it's really important for you to be constructively critical, of course, but also to understand that we're all human. Yes, even the superintendent is quite human and we make mistakes. So it's important for the superintendent, I think, to go before the board and say, you know what? I screwed up. I could have done this better. This should have been handled better. These are the facts. This is what happened. The board is entitled to know all the facts because they have to make a decision, the good, the bad, the ugly. That's transparency.
As a board member, it's very important to have clear expectations of the board and the superintendent relationship. Wouldn't be fair to assess someone on something when you have not been clear on what you want to accomplish as a board. So you also don't need to wait until the spring to do your CSA evaluation to share that feedback. See that something's going on that maybe it's not going the way that you as a board would like. Make sure you're sharing this with him or her. Leadership inspire board members and superintendents to remain focused on district goals. The focus of the board and the school district must be on student achievement and closing the gap for all students. As a board, you should conduct at least a yearly self-assessment to determine how you as a board is functioning. Perhaps you need more training as a whole.
And of course, we want to bring out the best in the people that we lead. And I think the leadership of the superintendent, obviously in the district, but applies specifically to the board too. We superintendents have to be leaders amongst the board. And of course, the board president is also a leader amongst the board, leading the board towards the goals, meaningful, manageable, measurable district goals. Collaboration. I don't have a monopoly on the best ideas. I have one perspective. We make the best decisions for the students of our district when we collaborate, when we brainstorm, and to do that, we need to trust each other. That if I have an idea and I have a thought, it's not going to be shot down, right? I have to have kind of a safe space to express my opinions. Be open to board members who have expertise and specializations. In other words, they come on our board and they have a particular perspective. Maybe they have teaching experience, and that could be very valuable, or law enforcement experience, very valuable to our board. For example, we had a previous board member who was experienced with public utilities. He's no longer on the board, but he drove by one of our parking lots and noticed all the lights were out. He called up and said, "Can I help you out with this? Is there something we can do to get the lights back on?" So we have to be open to that expertise.
As a board member, again, I don't have a monopoly on good ideas. None of us do. What's important is to leave your ego at the door. Everyone comes with a perspective. Every board member was voted on by people who believed in the message that they were giving. So as a board member, share respectfully your ideas at all times. Be mindful of your role as a board member. It's the what, not the how. The board governs, not individuals. Oh, yeah. Respect, obviously, board members represent the public. You know, if you hear community chatter, either online, conversations in your neighborhood, make sure the superintendent is aware of those concerns. The last thing you want to do is wait until someone is angry enough to start writing letters or showing up at the board meeting. And of course, don't compromise the Board of Ed by giving the public the perception that you speak authoritatively for the board. Even though you could put a disclaimer out there, the reality is the information that you're hearing on the board, most people will assume that you're speaking from the position of a board member, even if you're just doing it as a parent.
And of course, complaints referred to the chief school administrator. The board members who are out in the public all the time are very often going to receive complaints, have concerns. And I'm very fortunate because our board has done an excellent job bringing these complaints to me. And it is their job, however, I think, and their responsibility to ask questions. So as a superintendent, I should not be put off when boards are asking constructive, critical questions about my approach to a situation. It's not a bad thing. They're entitled to know. Support, understanding the roles and responsibilities, and then offering the resources. Well, one of the, the agenda is basic. It's got to be out on time. The superintendent evaluation, when it's conducted and how it's conducted. For example, simple things like educational acronyms. Somebody comes on the board, they're very, very new to education. And if you're an experienced board member, you could have a dictionary, a list of acronyms pertaining to education. So you're sitting down in executive session, having a discussion, all this acronym comes up, And I'm sure some board members a little bit put off the new board member who probably doesn't understand them. Simple Robert's Rules of Order. These are ways we can support new board members particularly to understand what they are.
So as a board member, it's really important that you understand the issues facing the school district to govern effectively. So ask those questions. If you need a board mentor, ask one of your fellow board members, or come to an event like this and do some networking. Should provide a thorough onboarding process to new board members by board leadership, the superintendent, and the business administrator. It's really important for the new board members to hear firsthand before that first meeting. You don't want to put them in a position that they're feeling unsure of themselves. And then training with the whole board and the superintendent allows for growth together. So I know I already spoke to Charlene, wherever she might be. There she is, and said, we need you.
So hopefully this leads to a positive board culture. That's our goal, to have a positive culture where the superintendent and the board work together as a team. And we believe that doing so will really benefit student achievement, of course. And of course, we want to analyze the data to find out exactly how our students are achieving. We want our financial resources to be directed towards student achievement. We want those financial resources to be measured. We want the community engaged. And so important is employee morale, that people are happy to work in our district and they feel fulfilled working in the district. And I know we put down 6, and I bet each one of you have another 6 or 7 that you could each put down. These are just some things that come to our mind. So that's it. Next slide means your questions or your thoughts or anything you'd like to say. We turn it over to you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. At this point, I would like to welcome up from Long Hill Township, Karen Ann Nyquist and George Alexis, Superintendent of Schools.
Well, he'll be up shortly.
Okay.
You might see it, it might have been a different order pictured in your, excuse me, on your listing. And Lisa and I decided to make a little change in it to try to make it more logical. And one of the things I came to is, well, what comes first? Governance or culture? It's a chicken and egg thing. So maybe some of the things that I'm going to be saying are repetitious to what Lisa has pointed out, but it really is. Do you develop a governance mindset and that leads you to a positive culture? Or do you already have the beginnings of a positive culture that make you go out and search how to get a governance mindset? So I'm just going to tell you how Long Hill approached it. We're a very small district in. Stay closer to the mic. Thank you. Yeah, I will. Okay. Which one? In the southernmost tip of Morris County, we operate again like Roxbury on a committee structure. These are we have 9 committees. Now, when we started this back in the summer of 2020, the first thing we needed was a volunteer was asked for it. I volunteered to be chair of the governance committee. My first action was, of course, to call Charlene and say, what is governance? To that, she directed me to a book. Oops, I did it too fast. You did it. Thank you. Called, you might have all heard it by now, The Governance Core. And in the core, they define 4 key pillars of good governance. Everybody might use different words, but the whole thing of strategic focus, as was pointed out, for every board, every action, every decision that you make comes down to student achievement. That has to be your guidepost in what you do. Because we have a whole district of administrators, lots of functions, buildings and grounds, finance, the board operations, etc. You're a system. You are like a body. One decision in one part affects the others. You have to have that systems overview of what you're doing, what you're thinking about doing, and what you're evaluating. Just as pointed out, when a board goes to or goes into their meeting, they have agenda items. We should be deep learning. You have a question about curriculum? I don't know about curriculum. I'm going to learn about it. or something about the budget. It is our responsibility to learn what we are acting on. That's what the public voted us in to do, to make knowledgeable and purposeful decisions. You can't do that without learning. And all of that has to take place with us, the board, showing the public that we represent what we're trying to bring to our students. Tolerance, respect, inclusiveness, etc. So at a board meeting and somebody says something, whether it be a member of the public or a fellow board member, you don't sit there and roll your eyes or shake your head. You listen and look positive. You are a reflection of the value scheme that you are instilling in your district. And the public translates it like that. When we began our journey, as I said, in the spring of 2020, we took I'll call it a global view. We started like peeling an onion. We looked at our board meetings, always conducted very civilly, etc. But there were things we were a little loose about. For instance, somebody had a comment to make. We didn't always look to the president to acknowledge us before we made the comment. So we tightened up how we utilized or how we practice Robert's rules. Excuse me. We more focused to our retreat. We were one of those districts that every year we had a retreat. Generally, we would just go in with a self-evaluation and talk about it and do it. Now we laid out for ourselves a little bit of an agenda to give it more structured. We also asked the board members to prepare for it. We wanted a more fruitful and beneficial discussion at that time because that kind of set us up for the school year. What we also did, and I should have said, this is not happening chronologically. A lot of these things were going on simultaneously. You're a policy-making body. We literally undertook a complete review of our entire policy manual. We got the wellness check because even though you keep up with it, you might have a little bit, something might have slipped through the crack, and we wanted to have it perfect as we started this journey. We also, like I said, had the committees. One thing, again, using school boards as a resource, got a list of or samples of responsibilities for the different committees that I showed that we have. Passed it out to the committee chairs and the committees discussed it and they defined their responsibilities. So now everybody has a clear understanding. They looked at how they functioned. They work with the administrator who works with that committee to do just that. And all those are now published on our website. We formalized our committees met. Maybe though sometimes they didn't meet quite regularly. So for instance, the personnel committee might only meet when there was negotiation. So we wanted to change things and get a little more regularity to the meetings, as well as more structure to how the meetings were undertaken. So we formalized a format for the agenda and we followed it through with formalizing a format for the minutes. Excuse me. And we actually we always reported at the board meetings, but now we made the reports a little more meaty. And that is just saying that, policy met and we approved 6 policies and we have 4 more to review. So when the policy chair gives her minutes, now she said we had 3 policies that had absolutely no changes to the verbiage. It also means the same. We had some grammar, but policy A, we had to really change this. And it's a very, you should heed this, especially like something that deals with firearms and parents. And she made a special note to talk about parents should be very aware of this and, can access this policy online. So things like that, so that the public sees more or understands more of what we're doing. We don't just go to meetings to approve things. There's a lot of stuff we do behind the scenes. And then too, as was mentioned, you have onboarding and having a new member packet. We did not have a setup. We had the president call, the vice president call, the superintendent call, time to sit down with the BA, but we wanted something more formalized. And that's what was undertaken by Dr. Mucci, who was with our superintendent. All these things that we formalized, we further put a structure on it. And I know that some districts here also have an oath and or a pledge. Again, taking samples given to us by Charlene, we developed an oath and a pledge. And it basically outlines how we're going to conduct our meetings, just like was pointed out. no question beforehand. How do you introduce agenda items? For instance, committees have to send out the agenda so many days before the meeting. How they solicit items for the agenda. Minutes have to go out so many days after the meeting, et cetera. So those kinds of things. And the importance of the pledge and oath, we wanted to really solidify with our board. We want to make it something that'll be there long after all these board members go. So we actually have the board members sign it along with our ethics pledge at the reorg meeting. Now, that's a little hodgy here, but the other thing that was really important as we moved along, because we're getting all these things done at the same time, at the same time, and hopefully being as effective as we can. We changed committee chairs in January, just as was pointed out, when you have either because of election or people want to get on a different committee. One of the key things was providing a continuity in how the committee operates, because we want the committees to be as effective as possible, the board to be as effective as possible. So we developed a transition report where the previous chair indicates, how the meetings are taken, how often the committee meets, what the goals were for the year, the progress to those goals, what roadblocks, what do we see as open items, and they can hand it over to the new chair. So the new chair has a roadmap on what to do virtually right away from the first meeting, and they're not standing there trying to figure out what they have to do. All of these things that we had put in place and that we had started ultimately had an effect on the community. And I say this because we went through a period where we had to go through a superintendent search. And I was chair of the search committee. And literally I got one call and the person asked, how can I participate in the search? And I said, well, we're going to provide a survey for the parents, the community, and we're also going to have a virtual session to get your input. That was it. That was the only call I got regarding it, because I think we had built up the kind of trust in the community that they knew we were going to let them know what we were doing. The timeline was on the website. I put in a weekly update. The president made special notes. At the board meetings, I reported we had, X candidates. We reviewed these many resumes. Everybody knew everything. At least we saw a very strong benefit from what we had done, I believe, because of basically the birthless transition we made through the search and into our getting a superintendent. And now what happened was we were very, very fortunate in that search to have Mr. George Alexis join us as our superintendent. So he'll be taking over.
Thank you, Karen. I'm George Alexis. I've been superintendent in Long Hill since July 1st, 2023. What I'd like to do tonight, and I say that because Karen and her colleagues have been immersed in this work for the last 5 years, right? This is going on the this is the 5th year that you're working on it, right? And so I joined in 2023 and I spent my typical 3 to 6 months learning, getting a better sense of the culture of the district, and starting to immerse myself in this governance work. And Karen invited me to participate in a school boards workshop in October of 2023. So I was brand new to the district, and that was an excellent experience because I learned a lot about the theoretical framework, which you did such a nice job of explaining and applying it to a practical context, and how this has all evolved in Long Hill, which is great, because that's the important part, I think, for the audience. So we pick up here where, again, we're focused on trust and transparency and developing that relationship with the community. But I'd like to move to the next slide because I want to look at where we are. One more slide. Thank you. This is what all of that work has led to, right? We have a vision in Long Hill, an educational vision that's focused on a learner-centered culture. We're committed to inquiry-based strategies, personalized learning, critical and creative problem solving. But what I've noticed in the last year and a half is we've placed an extra emphasis on alignment. And if there are three things I want you to take away from what you can learn from Long Hill and Karen's and her colleagues' work that goes back to 2020, is that it's yielded this culture where we align things very well right now. I don't think that was the case before you started this work, and it's been an ongoing project. But we also, I feel like we have created a culture where there's a shared understanding, much like Richard talked about, between the board and the superintendent, and the importance of respect and how they demonstrate respect for one another, for members of the community, for the teaching staff, for the kids, and they model that behavior. So this is the alignment part. This year in particular, I thought we did a very strong job of communicating with the public about the process for goal development, whether they were district goals, the board goals, which are all aligned with the strategic plan. And we also have committee goals, which not every board of education has in their committees, I'm sure. So in addition to that, we are working on a new strategic plan, and we'll be developing that this winter. We look forward to that work, but all of that creates the cohesion that you need for a culture. And all of the work that they did to put in written guidelines, pledges, and codes that are signed, that are practiced, that are internalized by board members, all of that leads to this kind of cohesion. The next slide. So I was asked when this presentation was being developed to provide my perspective on this as the superintendent. So these are all the things that I've noticed that are happening in Long Hill, mostly because of all this work that was done for the last 4.5 years. But I would say this: the way that the board members treat each other, the way they show respect for each other, the way they welcome questions, they welcome varying viewpoints, they listen actively, they listen respectfully. That makes all the difference, and that's what makes all of this work. So it's really the alignment, the shared understanding of the roles between the superintendent and the board, and the respect that's demonstrated by the board members, and it just makes everything work and creates a cohesive culture that's effective and it's good for kids. And then the last slide just has our contact information, so feel free to reach out to us. And I'm sure if you share these presentations, yes, so the presentations will be shared. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Before we bring up the Morris School District Superintendent Ann Mucci, this building we're in tonight, thank you very much. I just want to point something out, and Karen has no idea about this, but in 2022, when I attended the school board's convention, I attended your presentation on governance and what you were doing, and you gave out this pamphlet, welcome to school board meetings, and you had it out at all your school board meetings for people who came. It's a great pamphlet. If there's any way we can get this online so everyone can see it. It's something I've had for a while now because I'd love to start to implement this. But inside the trifold, it says, welcome to the meeting. What is the board's role? How are board meetings scheduled, and how are they conducted? What's going on? Let's hear from you at the meeting, the process of resolving a concern, and what is the Board of Education? It lists the members, it lists administrative teams, and you have a bunch of schools. I would have one school. And then on the back, it listed your meetings, and this is a great informational item to put out at meetings. And I just want to let you know, Karen, I did keep it all these years. Okay. All right, at this time, I'd like to call up Ann Mucci. Thank you so much.
I'd like to begin with a big plug for Karen as well. Karen asked me to join and offer some words at tonight's presentation. And it was a pleasure working with Karen. She does such exceptional work in Long Hill, and I'm proud to call her a friend, and so glad that we're still talking and together and meeting for lunch after our time working together in Long Hill. So thank you, Karen, for including me and giving me the opportunity to speak to everyone tonight. Karen is like many of the board members that I've worked with. This is my 14th year as a superintendent and my 30th year in public education. I'm proud to say that all of those years are in Morris County. I worked with about 8 different board presidents and dozens of board members, and I learned from all of them. And to look at you here tonight, coming to enjoy learning from one another, to celebrate the exceptional programs that exist throughout our county is truly an inspiration. So give yourselves a pat on the back for coming out on a night that's not a board meeting and still being committed to the work. And I don't think that people often realize what a sometimes thankless job being a member of the Board of Education can be, and you give it meaning. You're here tonight to show your seriousness of purpose, your collaboration with your administration, and those are all wonderful things. And Charlene, I'm going to steal one of your lines, which I've heard many times and has inspired me. When we look at all of the volunteers in the state of New Jersey and all different elected positions, school board members are the ones that are the most highly trained and have the highest level of requirement for that training. So thank you for your service to your students. Thank you for your service to your board. And thank you for coming to Morristown this evening. So prior to coming to the Morris School District, I was in Long Hill and I said, what's a governance committee? I've never heard of this. I don't know what it's supposed to do. And as Karen pointed out in her presentation, we quickly learned. And I know all of you have somebody like Karen on your board. That's the person that keeps everybody else on task. So Karen sends helpful reminders about the board self-evaluation, the superintendent's evaluation, and generally I would say the work that Karen did that was especially helpful to me as a superintendent was monitoring those guidelines. You know, a superintendent can't go to a board member and be like, do your self-evaluation. Hey, did you complete my evaluation yet? Did you read all of those gold reports that, goal reports that I sent to you? So to have an active governance committee that can gently nudge people towards deadlines and getting work done is a strong asset and a great support to the administration. So governance committees deal with the timelines for evaluations, they manage trainings, and most importantly, as you heard in both of the previous presentations this evening, they monitor our progress towards our goals. So if you don't have a committee and you're thinking, well, what would they do? Or could we have another one? Just those key workings of the committee are essential. And we learned how an effective board culture, what it looks like, we saw in Rockaway Township's presentation. But I'd like to speak to you from the superintendent perspective. What does it feel like? So when you have effective board governance and an effective board culture, you feel like you could do anything in your job. I thought about the 2 gentlemen from Roxbury who were saying, we go to our board and they say yes, or they say, we want to, and we'll figure it out. That is the greatest gift that you can give your administrative team. And it comes from effective governance and a positive board culture. And when I think about our community, we just had, there are many openings here in Morris County for superintendents, and people are out doing the searches. And I'll let you in on another secret. We all do the same thing. When we see a search open that we think might be intriguing, we call Charlene. And we ask Charlene, tell us a little bit about this board. Tell us about what we notice. And the other thing we do is we log online and we watch your board meetings. And then that really gives us a sense of, is this a place that would appreciate the work? Is this a place that I would want to be? At a time where there are a leadership crisis and there are so many vacancies and so many new superintendencies or people coming into the superintendents for the first time, your board culture doesn't just manage the wonderful way that you can deal with each other, but it also communicates strongly about the quality of candidates you'll get for superintendent, administrative positions, because we do all talk. And oh my goodness, did you see the way they treat each other? That's how you would be treated if you worked there. So governance and culture is not just about how your unit as a Board of Education works, but to underscore the earlier point, it's what you want for your district and what values you want to present out to the community. Obviously, you're here tonight. This is a wonderful place. I said when I came here, oh, starting a new job, everybody says, how can I help you? Do many of them really mean it? I often wonder, right? Like, did they answer the email? Did they call? The wonderful thing about this school district is not only do people say, can I help you? They then come forward and offer the help, and to a person, they're there. And that direction comes from our Board of Education. One of our board members, Ms. Linda Murphy, has kind of the title and reputation on our board of taking something and making it even better. And Linda's work has really been exceptional on our board. So when Linda came on, we had an orientation packet, we had a checklist, we had all of the meetings, and Linda went through the orientation. And then she reflected on it as a board member and thought, well, what other questions do I have? Or what other ways could we present this? Or gosh, you know, I had to go to a number of different documents to be able to, what's the matter? I look wacky? Your face is amazing.
Walk around their kitchen.
Walk around their kitchen, well, bring me a cup of coffee, okay? And Linda's work, took our board governance and orientation manual, updated it, collated it, made everything easy to find. So I'd like to give a round of applause to Linda, because one of your best handouts tonight is already from Linda. On the way out, you can pick up this QR code, and the QR code will take you to a Google folder, which has some first orientation notes. Second, our board manual, a great article that I think I probably got from Charlene, 10 tips for new board members, and then something new that we're trying. So I don't know how it's gonna go. We were having different committee meetings and we were talking about questions that board members typically get asked. And one of the presentations, the superintendent in Rockaway mentioned, you never want a board member to be on the line at ShopRite and hear something from somebody before they hear it from you. We also noticed that board members often get the same type of questions. So one of our board members said, could we get some talking points? So we put together a document of talking points on frequently asked questions for board members. I'm not saying that you walk around ShopRite and whip out your list and say, like, wait a minute, what topic are you asking about? But the ability to have, some bullet points for important topics would look different in each district, but take a look at it. If it's something that you can use for good governance, then we talk about the board being one voice instead of each person speaking for themselves. So if we have this shared document with talking points on critical issues, whether you're facing a referendum, or if you had a reduction in force and you needed to lose some teachers that might not have been a popular decision, these critical conversations that can be challenging for board members, we just made a little primer with bullet points and references to the amazing articles. So the funny thing, I have to give Charlene another big thanks and plug. I had been just jotting down what the board members were saying, like this would be a good topic to have. And every time I went to have additional information, I pulled it from New Jersey school boards. So that talking points document actually references many New Jersey school board articles for reference. So in thinking about some of the things that haven't been mentioned that I'll just throw in at the end that are a great connection for board governance and board culture, we have 4 retreats a year. And for those 4 retreats, we establish our goals, we monitor them, we revise them, And they're a wonderful way for our board to come together. We usually have a meal. We have some time to talk casually before we get into the meeting. And it helps us really get to know each other as people and support the work that we are doing. So 4 times a year, we meet monthly as a board. So we have 10 board meetings, plus we have some extras, obviously around budget time. But if you're meeting monthly, putting in those 4 retreats is actually a really great way to get through the work. I'm happy if anybody's interested to share with you agendas from our retreat. I'll even throw them in this document when I get home so that you can say, okay, what is a board retreat? What does it look like? The other thing is celebrate your work and also take a look at the training that you have. So January is School Board Appreciation Month. I hope that you would all pass the resolution that recognizes the great work of school boards. And also Charlene, I know, has so many evenings out. When she does the ethics training, it's another great way to re-solidify the board and their connection. And one of the things that we do with the board member code of ethics is a choral reading, just like elementary school. Everybody reads a paragraph, you read it in public. It's a way for the board to think about the training that they've received and that code of ethics, and also to share it. And there's always a lot going on, many meetings. We just had another board member join, and I'd like to thank Melissa Spiata, who coming from another meeting, who has also been instrumental in the work of the board and creating the great culture that exists here in the Morris School District. Thank you for the time, and again, thank you very much for all the work you do. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, once again, a big thank you to Lisa, Karen, and Dr. Ann Mucci. Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, Rob wants to be thanked again. I'm sorry.
Bail superintendent too.
Oh, okay. Okay, Rob, we're thanking you again. Okay, at this time, it gives me great pleasure to bring up the woman, the myth, and the legend, Charlene Peterson, our field service rep, to present the newly minted Carol E. Larson Board Certification.
Good evening, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here. And so some of you I had the pleasure to speak with earlier at the 3 hours, and I'm glad to see that so many new members continued to stay tonight. So before I do that, I just want to say a couple things about board culture, just as a reflection from tonight, and just, hope that you see how valuable good governance is and what a difference it can make in a district. So sometimes we just think about ourselves as going to our meetings, going home, and wondering, did we make a difference? How did we make a difference? And recognizing that, now you're seeing examples of how this really does have a positive impact on the district. So just wanted to stress the importance of that. And one of the things I hope that you saw, the passion for the boards that really delve into it and really spend more time on it, find that it's very rewarding and continue to dig deeper and continue to find more ways to further their governance work, recognizing that it makes a difference. And then also wanted to prove the point that it takes work. I don't know how many times I get a call that will say, like, we're not getting along, we're having problems. Charlene, you got to come in here and have a meeting with us and fix it. I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way. You need to work at it. It's a process. It's taking the time. It's working together. It's making the commitment. It doesn't just happen. Your board has to make it a priority, and everyone has to put in the work to make it happen and want to happen. So before I was moving forward from that, I just wanted to kind of make that point in terms of an observation about governance. So tonight is one of the exciting things we get to do, and that's recognize boards that have put that work in. So for the new board members that are here, New Jersey School Boards offers opportunities to recognize boards that work together as a board team, acknowledging the importance and the value of that work. So we are here tonight then to recognize the Mine Hill Township Board. in New Jersey School Boards has two different levels of certification that a board can earn. The first level is just called board certification. And then beyond that, then is a board that's gone the next step beyond that to become what we call a Carol E. Larson Master Board. So that is the award that Mine Hill Township is here tonight to earn. And so I just wanted to first start talking about, since we have so many new people here, what it takes then. First, just to get that first level of board certification, and it requires the board to make a commitment to train together as a board team. And so to do that, you need to train together for a total of 16 hours over a 4-year period, which it's okay, it doesn't sound that difficult. But again, as it was mentioned, all the other time that you already have, spending on this work. So again, taking that next step of saying, we recognize the value in training. And to one of the boards that was here, one of the things I like to reference, like one board member said, all I hear is certification, like, training, and said, now I get it. And said, all the time we've spent together is training. I now feel like I'm ready, that I'm prepared. When an issue comes before us, I know that we can handle it. I know that we can work together through it because of the time that we spent together training as a board team. So I get it now. So just kind of wanted to share that same sentiment with you, so that difference that it does make training together as a board team. So like I said, it's that 16 hours together over a 4-year period. We talked about the importance of policy. So New Jersey School Boards has a policy wellness check where our policy team looks over your policies to make sure that everything is up to standard. Our labor relations team, we will look at one of your bargaining agreements, and then we look at your governance effectiveness through the governance portion of CUSAC, and then also through the board self-evaluation. So then once a board has completed all of that, then they would be eligible to receive board certification. You get a nice plaque to hang on the wall in your boardroom. And then, like I said, then the next level that we're recognizing tonight is the Carol E. Larson Master Board Award. So to earn that, it's 10 additional credits or hours of training over a 2-year period. So this award's been in effect for 15 years, and you're thinking, okay, that 10 more hours, if we've already gone through the 16, doesn't seem like that big of a deal. But in that 15 years, out of the 580 school districts, only about 50 have ever earned it over that 15-year period. So recognizing that the value and the commitment and kind of the prestige of boards that put that time in and do that work. So it really is a distinction. So I wanted to kind of acknowledge the fact that Mine Hill now joins its other Morris County Board colleagues who have earned this in Harding, Boonton Township, Pequannock, Denville, Netcong, Roxbury, Long Hill Township, Morris School District, Wharton, Montville, and Washington Township. So if you're getting the sense that Morris County is committed to training, the boards are committed. If I said there's only 50 in the whole state, you just heard me mention a bunch that happened right here in Morris County, right? So just acknowledging the importance of that commitment training, that the county has kind of set that standard and recognizes the importance of that. Second to none. Yes, ma'am. So and it also, sends a strong message to your community. It sends a strong message to your staff that says, we value professional development. We are going to hold ourselves to that same standard that we hold you to. And as much as we're talking about culture tonight, this really does make a difference in the culture, because if you think about the training, and now that you've heard kind of the way these boards have evolved, that you're really setting the stage for not only what's happening at this current board, but you're also helping future boards, right? By the work that you've done, by the culture that you've established. So you're really making a difference for boards coming forward. So recognizing all of that, I now wanted to talk about the Mine Hill Township Board, so you can kind of get a sense of the work that they have done together. So the board was first certified in 2005. and then again in 2022. And then after that, there was never a doubt that the board, after they got that certification, wanted to move forward to that next step of becoming a Carol E. Larson Master Board. So they set it as one of their board goals to work toward. And in the past 2 years, the board really has almost kind of like a regular schedule of training that it conducts. We talked about, that the ethics training, kind of keeping those foundational things, because that's the other thing that seems to make a difference too, is stick to the basics, stick to the foundation, keep that training going. And the Mine Hill Township Board is a perfect example of that and how that helps make a difference. Looking at, like I said, ethics, roles, the superintendent's evaluation. They always have annual goal setting retreats. So like times to come together to stick to that training. And I have to say that there is rarely a meeting where cake is not being served for one celebration or another. Every time I go there, there's always cake. But one of the things that also is special about this board team is how long that they have all served together. That the 7 members on the board, all of them are either in their second term or their third term. Their superintendent and their business administrator have been with them throughout all of that time. So think about the opportunity to really build a team, to really connect with one another, and to really, we talked about kind of being in alignment. Think about the benefit of being able to do that for your students and all that they were able to accomplish. So it is my privilege to call the Mine Hill Township Board team up here to receive your Carol E. Larson Master Board Award.
Congratulations, Diane.
Thank you so much.
Rolling, we get first too, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of pushing.
Did you bring anything? Okay. Why don't we sit in more this way?
We have cookies.
Get to hide my belly.
So the cake.
Uh-huh.
Oh, wait.
For school board notes, okay. Oh, Diane, it looks like you have like a door.
With the lights in your eyes, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
We do cookies a lot. It's not just.
Okay.
Diane is asking for 1 minute. Rob, start the timer.
We'll do it without us.
Without you, that's good. I'd asked Bernadette if I might add to the dialogue regarding this award. It's in particular very special to me, the Carol E. Larson Award. And for this reason, for some of you who may not know that 25 years ago or so, I worked for New Jersey School Boards as a field service rep like Charlene. And when I joined the staff, Carol Larson was a colleague. And she was brilliant when it came to board training. She was well known throughout the entire state for the development of many programs. She took me under her wing and taught me much of what I knew in my professional development. So she was a very special person. And at the end of her career, she developed cancer and passed away. And one of the things that the association did in recognition of her professionalism, her stellar training, was to name this award after her. And so having worked with Carol, I'm particularly honored to receive this. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Well said. Before we move on, I'm going to go off script for 1 minute. Rob, don't have a stroke, okay? Well, now it's not a few minutes, probably 2 hours ago, when I was addressing the new board members in the 3 Rs training, I said, come to a county meeting, make a friend, keep a friend. So tonight, I'd like to talk about Mr. Leo Coakley from Roxbury Board of Education. I first met Leo at a Morris County School Boards Association meeting about 12 years ago, and we remained friends, colleagues, and mentors to each other. Leo is the current recipient of the Irene Lefebvre Excellence in Boardsmanship Award. Leo has chose to retire after serving 12 very dedicated, committed, and responsible years, leaving Roxbury Board of Education at a loss. Under Leo's leadership and direction, the board rose to the occasion and earned the Carol E. Larson Master Board Certification. And you've seen tonight, they won another award. They are constantly winning awards, and that's because of their superintendent and the commitment of Leo, their board president, and the rest of their board. But Leo, on a personal note, I will miss you, your very happy, smiling face. You're always smiling. Enjoy your retirement, well earned, and you deserved it. Thank you for your service. Okay, back on script. At this time, we're going to receive a new update from Tammy Smith, who is the treasurer of ELF NJ. And that is online, correct? Tammy, take it away.
Hey guys, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Well, I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. It is so great to see you all. So I am also board president at the Knowlton Township Board of Education. I do serve on your NJSBA Board of Directors. And as just mentioned, I do serve as the treasurer for Educational Leadership Foundation Board of Trustees. So it's truly my pleasure just to be here with you this evening. I'm really excited to talk about Educational Leadership Foundation of New Jersey, or otherwise known as ELF NJ. So if you even look at your agenda this evening, you'll see the ELF NJ logo right at the bottom. So briefly, ELF NJ was founded in 2008, and it was formed to advance the governance of New Jersey's public schools through training and research. So the foundation assists New Jersey School Boards Association in fulfilling its mission to advance public education by securing resources to support school board professional development. So what does all of that mean? So for one thing, ELF NJ has made tonight's meeting possible. ELF NJ provides the funding for our county dinner meetings. They also provide the funding for our flagship new board member orientation weekend programs. And then in the past, ELF NJ has also funded leadership programs, integrative STEAM programs, and other conferences and programs that NJSBA has held. So how is ELF NJ funded? And it's done by contributions. So it is a 501c3 organization, and contributions are tax deductible. Current contributors, and if you look right at the bottom of your agenda, you'll see that some of our current contributors are Broadreach Medical Resources, Citizens Bank, Dell, NJM Insurance Group, and New Jersey School Insurance Group, or NJSIG, as many of you may know it. So the reason that I'm here this evening is for the ask. We are all volunteers as board members, but many of us do work for larger corporations or organizations that do have a foundation or are open to be donors or sponsors. So the ask is, if any of my fellow board members here in Morris County, if you work for an organization or a corporation that does have a foundation or is open to being a donor, supporting education and professional development, or a large corporation that supports being a recurring sponsor, I would love to hear from you. If you could reach out to me or our executive director, David Hespy. We would love to hear from you guys. Any referrals that you can make to help us continue our programs moving forward would be greatly appreciated. And you can email Dave Hespy at dhespy@elfnj.org. Or you can reach out to me. My email address is right on the NJSBA website. And many of you do have my phone number, but I'll shout it out, 973-222-5741. And Rob can give you my contact information as well. So again, that is the ask. We really support, we really greatly appreciate supporting the new board member orientations and all of our professional development trainings. And if any of your organizations or employers do have a foundation or some type of donorship or sponsorship, we would love to talk to them. So any referrals would be greatly appreciated. And we thank you for your time this evening. And I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas holiday. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy.
Thanks, guys.
Now we come to the portion of our program tonight where we say goodbye and farewell to several longtime serving dedicated board members. First, I'd like to acknowledge First Vice President Susie Goldier from Parsippany Troy Hills. Susie is participating virtually somewhere over there tonight. Susie has served admirably and was a valuable asset to the Morris County School Boards Association Executive Committee. She will be sadly missed and hard to replace. We do have a plaque for her. Not sure if you can see it, Susie. Wait, where's the camera? Oh. But we will send it home for you. And again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, Susie.
Hi, thank you.
I'd also like to recognize Mr. Paul Breda from the Wharton Board of Education. Paul was represented Morris County at our delegate. I apologize. Paul served as our delegate to the Board of Directors for many years. Paul is a consummate professional who, when called upon, was always the first to volunteer his knowledge and assistance. Paul could always be counted on for the most difficult or simplest tasks because he cared. He believed in providing a thorough and efficient education to all and served to ensure those needs were met at the local, county, and state level. Paul is not easily replaced and will be missed by all who served with him in his capacity as board member and member of the Morris County Executive Committee. Paul, I know you're here somewhere. Come on up. Susie, we're going to get you in this picture virtually, so stay there.
Mike Tyson retired also.
What's that mean?
Mike Tyson.
Paul's saying Mike Tyson retired. I'm not sure how that.
Attempted humor.
You got it?
Make sure it's right side up.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for those words.
You're welcome, Paul. Thank you for your time and commitment. At this time, I'm going to ask Charlene Peterson to come up, and then we're going to have the final portion of the program. You're going to be quick, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So I also just wanted to acknowledge if there are any other members who are not going to continue with their board service, if they are here tonight to stand so we can recognize them as well. Is there anyone else here? So I looked at the on your agenda, Rob had put together a list of all of the members who are, leaving their boards and had their years of service. So I added it up, it was 300 years. So think about the experience of boardsmanship that Morris County is losing just this year of members retiring from their board, with a couple members having had over 30+ years of service. So just think about that, that commitment that you can make to the board, but then also looked at, the changes that are coming, which, that's just part of this board work. I was telling the new board members earlier tonight that every time, even if you just get one new board member, you're changing the board, right? You're impacting the board culture. So again, I looked at to see how many different districts are getting at least one new board member this year in Morris County, and it's 28. Wow. So I think out of the 38, right? So pretty much
39.
Okay, so almost every board, or close to all of the boards are getting a new board member. So just recognizing the impact of that. So I just kind of wanted to acknowledge one of the things that the School Ethics Commission had said about our board service, and just wanted to share that because it's not often we hear positive things, right, that come out of the School Ethics Commission. So I just wanted to say that it said that it's recognized that you, as a member of the board, are contributing your valuable time, skill, and effort to the community you serve. This service in itself is among the most important kind of volunteerism in which an individual can engage. So I think for those members leaving the board, they can attest to that and hope that you coming on the board will learn and see the value and the reward that comes to being a board member. Just wanted to add a couple updates quick from the field. One of them is that we are rolling out in January a new board self-evaluation. So for those of you that have been doing it for years, it is going to look completely different. And it is also going to, similar to the way that you were able to evaluate the district goals as part of the superintendent's evaluation, the board self-evaluation will now allow you to evaluate your progress on your board goals. And then we also, I think, are going from 9 standards we looked at to 6 standards, and it's just a whole different look and a whole different things we're looking at. So it's supposed to be made available to the field reps sometime here in December, and we're supposed to try and break it and try and do everything that we can to it before we roll it out to all of you for your use. And then a couple other things, we talked about the mandatory training, and just wanted to let you know, for those new board members who are able to go to the weekend, that was what New Jersey School Board's focus was last year. We completely revamped that program. So people that are coming this year will have the opportunity to experience a whole new updated and refreshed program. This year, the focus is going to be on governance 2, which was finance, and doing that program. And then we also kind of changed some of the topics that are together with the mandatory training. So governance 2, we added policy to that, and finding out that just board members have so many questions about policy, that thought that was an important thing to add to the mandatory training. So labor relations used to be that piece. So now we move that to governance 3 so that you don't lose that either. And then it was mentioned, someone had talked about the ethics training. So just wanted to let you know that, that is a service that I'm able to provide to come to your board. And just last week, the School Ethics Commission, they release opinions. Until last week, we had been waiting all year for some of these opinions, and last week 11 came out. So to know that there's some new things that if your board hasn't heard before, the opportunity to be updated on these new opinions that just came out. So that is all I have, Bernadette. So I will turn it back over to you. Thank you.
Okay, we're in the home stretch. At this time, we will have the presentation of the oath of office to newly appointed Morris County School Board Association Executive Committee members and delegates. As you heard, Mr. Paul Breda will be leaving us, and we took the alternate on the advice and consent from the first vice presidents and the, what are you handing me that for? I know. Oh, okay. Now you made me lose my train of thought.
It's on the paper.
And the advice and consent of the first vice presidents and the executive committee. We moved the alternate delegate, Diane Morse, up to delegate. Diane can come up here and be sworn in. And then that left an alternate vacancy, and Rob solicited applications for the replacement. We received 7 very highly qualified applications. It was very hard to just choose one, but the winner was Mr. Joe Daugherty. Daugherty, I was so close. Daugherty from Montville, and he will be our new alternate. If he could please come up to be certified as well. And then you heard that Susie Goldier, our first vice president, was also leaving. So that created a vacancy, and the executive committee, in accordance with our bylaws, has to fill it from a member of the executive committee. We met last night. And I'm very happy and proud to announce that Lisa Messick from Rockaway will be our new vice president. So when Lisa was moved up from the executive committee, that also caused a vacancy in the executive committee. So then we had to nominate someone. So what we did was we went back to the 7 applications that Rob received for alternate, and we chose from there. And I'm very happy to announce that Jessica DeSico from Washington Township will serve in that capacity. Unfortunately, she was unable to be with us tonight. And the last thing I want to say before Rob does the oath of office is all these officer positions and the members of the executive committee terms end May 7th, 2025. I will be putting together a nomination committee to select the next slate of officers and executive committee members. If you have any interest in wanting to serve on the committee or be an officer, please email me. And as a reminder, there are 7 regions and we can only accept 1 member from each region to serve on the nominating committee. 5. Oh, I added 2? Okay. So if you want to be considered for an officer position or to serve on the executive committee or the nomination committee, your applications will need to be in no later than March 1st. And Rob will be sending those out in the new year. Rob, let's administer the oath.
So if the 3 of you could please raise your right hands. Do you solemnly promise to faithfully administer the duties incumbent upon these offices and agree that you will observe the bylaws and policies? Lisa already. The bylaws and policies of the Morris County School Boards Association. If you understand and accept all of these charges, signify by saying, I do.
I do.
It is my pleasure to congratulate you. I declare that these executive committee members have been duly installed and therefore do now preside over the Morris County School Boards Association. Congratulations. Okay. File. No, wait. One more picture. I know. Is this not, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Again, congratulations. All right, that's it, folks. That ends another great meeting. Please drive home safe and enjoy your holidays. See you virtually in February. Good night.
Good night, Bernadette. Thank you.
Oh my God, she wants another picture.
No, she's trying.
All right. Lisa.